Well, let me tell you some things I believe in. I believe that big tech companies should be really strongly regulated and broken down. Many of us can see what they are doing. Many of us understand the censorship, the dilution, the homogenization, not as being in the pursuit of some noble goal, but to be precisely the opposite. In point of fact, the real threat of fascism appears to be coming from those that most claim to oppose it.
How dare you!
And that we should have a media that tries its best to give us plain facts and allows us to sort it out among ourselves through plain, honest, open discourse, not elevates and amplifies particular narratives to turn us against one another so that they continue to profit from their relationships with big pharma and big business while we're squabbling among one another. Here on this channel, we're not going to allow that to happen. We're going to continue to tell you the truth because we trust in your ability to judge for yourself what's real and what's true, which voices are out to support you and which voices are out to get you.
What's going on, everyone? Jeremy here from The Quartering, and if you haven't been paying attention, there's a new target on the block. We've seen the mainstream media and kind of establishment, even government figures, really zero in on particular voices that they don't like, whether it's Alex Jones or it's Joe Rogan, or in this case, now it's Russell Brand. Everything that these individuals say isn't right. I obviously don't agree with every little thing that they say, but they're usually under the spotlight, under the microscope, which actually adds more credence to it, right? Like, this is the one thing that pro-censorship people don't understand, is that the more you tell someone not to listen to somebody, the more likely they are going to want to listen to somebody. And that's exactly what's happening to Russell Brand, as his YouTube career is absolutely exploding. And because of that, we're seeing a renewed push to try and cancel, deplatform, and discredit Russell Brand for his various opinions. And I'm going to show you exactly how the machine works after a quick word from this video's sponsor, Private Internet Access. Huge shout out to this video's sponsor, Private Internet Access VPN. Look, it's 2022. Everyone should be using a VPN by now. They unlock content, they provide an immense amount of privacy, and much more. From a privacy standpoint, not using private internet access would be like forgetting to mute yourself on Zoom and then talking about your coworkers. For a unblocking content worldwide, watching Netflix without private internet access is like paying for an entire spa day, but only getting a facial. Private internet access unlocks content, it adds an extra layer of protection, it conceals your internet traffic, your true IP, yours alone. You can access your favorite content, region-locked content. There are thousands of worldwide server locations, and I've been working with private internet access so long, they have a massive discount for you, my subscribers, when you use the link in the description or in the pinned comment down below. So get protected, get access to all the content you deserve, and save huge by using my custom link in the description or pinned comment down below to get private internet access today. Now, I'm going to show you a few clips here, as well as really just show you exactly what's happening for Russell Brand, as he is now at 5.26 million subscribers. There's a reason for that. You can see the man is gaining between 10 and 20,000 subscribers a day, and he is absolutely just crushing it in views, basically leading back to last summer. The man was pretty consistently average on YouTube, but now the man is getting 50 million views a month. 50, and that was just in February. I suspect he'll do better in March because there's a couple extra days. On top of that, in October alone, the man gained 380,000 subscribers, and if we go to February, another 300,000 subscribers. That's an average of more than 10,000 subscribers a day. Why is he doing it? What's happening? Well, I would argue that it's because he's over the target. You see, yesterday he's talking about Facebook. He's talking about YouTube censorship. He's talking about, Ukraine. He's talking about Justin Trudeau. He's talking about fake news. And I would argue that, like, Russell Brand's politics are not right wing. Absolutely not right wing, right? He's talking about the World Economic Forum. He's talking about, look at this. You've been lied to about why the Ukraine conflict began. The narrative is collapsing. He's talking about the coup. And, hey, whatever happened to that? I guess Putin ended that, huh? He's talking about issues that are very, very topical for a lot of people that aren't necessarily one way or another politically affiliated. I consider myself probably center right on some issues, center left on some other issues. I don't really have many like super duper strong opinions on one way or the other that I would say like, hey, I'm definitely, I'm definitely a conservative on this, or I'm definitely a liberal on this. I have many, liberal leanings, and I have many conservative leanings. And I think that's kind of it, right? That's where the it's like that little Dickie song. It was like, that's the market you miss. That's the market will hit. It will hit. Like, the media is so hyper politicized that they think everyone must be all the way to the left or all the way to the right. The reality is probably 65 to 70% of people in the United States and around the world are somewhere in between and shifting constantly. The idea of asking questions about, the coup has always kind of been portrayed as this inherently right-wing thing. But the fact of the matter is if you go out in public and you talk to people, you go to the pub, you join a bowling league, you go play some darts, you go to the farmer's market, you go, places where regular people congregate. It doesn't matter where somebody is on the political spectrum. They're all asking these questions that Joe Rogan and Russell Brand are asking. And what happens when that happens? The establishment goes against you. The Independent writes this article. Voices, this is from yesterday. Voices, Russell Brand is the new Joe Rogan, and I'm the one he warned you about. And you could see, forget Russell Brand, tech companies are to blame for the spread of various things we don't like. We also have, I'm not going to play this whole clip because it's 2 minutes long, but he does an expert job at explaining why the media is calling him right wing.
We think and feel, because we've all had unique experiences and we can't afford lazy labels. Like being right wing or left wing, that just used to be a thing. Now it's like a sort of an attempt to smear, slander and take someone down. I know what this is. I've been in the media a long time. This is an attempt to say you can't trust Russell Brand. Russell Brand's unreliable. Russell Brand's a right wing figure, and to manage those figures. I mean, this is pretty much the same as when they produced that list of doctors, half of whom were vets.
Exactly. The reason that the media wants to compartmentalize everybody is because it makes them easier to control. And control comes in many different forms, whether it's, bringing you to heel, to share the same opinion as they are, or if it's to discredit you. Either way, it's about control.
Now they're producing a list of right-wing guests, and one of them is me. Well, let me tell you some things I believe in. I believe that big tech companies should be really strongly regulated and broken down.
Agree.
I believe that massive companies should pay their taxes in the countries that they make money from.
Agree.
I believe that public health workers, firefighters, police officers, people that do jobs that put their own lives on the line should be properly paid, properly supported.
Big agree. And each of these issues might fit into, one particular side of the aisle or not. But like most people are fighting against this label now. We're sick of it because if you let them label you, you let them control you.
Properly trained. I believe that the most vulnerable people in society, the mentally ill, drug addicts, the vulnerable, should be looked after and taken care of. I believe that small businesses should be given every opportunity to thrive. I believe that communities should be run by the people that live in them, and however you identify, sexually, racially, religiously, that's your business.
I literally agree with everything he's saying right here. And again, I want to point out that they are on different sides of the aisle, each individual idea. He brought on Jimmy Dore, who's, you know, a definite prominent leftist. I think he would tell you that he's a leftist as well. And you see Steve writing, quietly, Russell Brand became the next Jon Stewart without any corporate network having to sanction it. His audience trusts his take on news more than they do some news networks. At this time, he had just 5.2 million subscribers. And then comes the calls for cancellation, right? You see Ted Cruz saying this is exactly right. Russell Brand explains how corporate media uses right wing as a slur to destroy free thinkers. Yeah, I mean, that's right.
Because we've all had business. You're right. To give us plain facts and allows us to sort it out among ourselves through plain, honest, open discourse, not elevates and amplifies particular narratives to turn us against one another so that they continue to profit from their relationships with big pharma and big business while we're squabbling among one another.
You know, there was a time where like being anti-corporation was like a clear leftist ideology. And now the same people that are, you know, running around quadruple masking, I've literally seen shirts that are like, you know, I'm Team Pfizer or this kind of stuff. It's sick. These companies don't care about you. You think Pfizer cares about you? Maybe these drug companies who are fueling an opioid epidemic in the United States, which is killing probably more people than the COOF did. You think these people care about you when they're charging enormous amounts of money for insulin? These people don't care about you. Just because one side gets, you know, politically aligned with them, you think you have to support them? You could see John Miltimore saying, Miltimore saying, the UK has Joe Rogan. His name is Russell Brand. He's poking at sacred cows and saying all the things people are thinking, but don't quite have the courage to say publicly yet. Yeah. Telegraph, how Russell Brand became the Mad Hatter of conspiracy theories. You know, a lot of theories start out as probably conspiracy theories until we have more information. People probably saying the Earth was flat were probably, or round were probably called conspiracy theorists, right? Early on, when people said that the Earth went around the sun, they were called conspiracy theorists. You know, there was a time medically when we used to put leeches on people. I'm not saying that every theory is just a time and more data away from being proven correct. I'm just saying that language. How did Russell Brand go from stand-up stardom to peddling YouTube conspiracy theories? Really? I don't know. Like, this is exactly what they're afraid of. Russell Brand is getting 50 million views a month. That's more than probably CNN. That's more than MSNBC. That's more than NBC. That's more than the Young Turks. That's more than like any leftist media outlet. And by the way, again, Russell Brand is not right wing. The search for Joe Rogan's British counterpart has ended, and Russell Brand is the lucky winner. Yes, the same Russell Brand who was once married to Katy Perry. So? I mean, like, so what? Brand has been on YouTube for a decade now. At first, he primarily used his channel to share promotional clips for his now defunct late-night talk show host, Brand X, with Russell Brand. 8 years ago, he switched to a more traditional vlogging format, sharing a series of videos he called The True News, those videos in which Brand held a newspaper and commented on the day's headlines. Oh, I can relate to that. You've got to watch out, because this is like, we know exactly the playbook they're going to use. First, they call you right wing. Then they say you're a conspiracy theorist. Then they say you're spreading medical misinformation. Here's Russell, a quick take from him on big tech.
You would have seen yourself on the meaningless political spectrum, because we know it's meaningless now because it's ever shifting.
Correct.
Where my focus is, and where I invite you to put your focus, is on this attempt to control all discourse, not just involving this matter, because a couple of weeks ago it was something else. And in another couple of weeks, it will be another matter. And in another 6 months, something else. And each time, our ability to communicate and to come together is being further eroded. The possibility that we might form our own communities and values and principles is being closed down on. But there is a counter argument. Many of us can see what they are doing. Many of us understand the censorship, the dilution, the homogenization, not as being in the pursuit of some noble goal, but to be precisely the opposite. In point of fact, the real threat of fascism appears to be coming from those that most claim to oppose it. But that's just what I think. What do you think? Let me know.
I agree. It's coming from Silicon Valley. It's coming from the left. It's coming, you know, and again, like, I'm not saying the right wing is inherently pro free speech, but they certainly have they have more figures that seem to stand up for it. The idea that just simple conversations are at risk, because you're going to see all these, now that, you know, the United States media is going to start going after him too. They're going to start pushing for YouTube to deplatform him. They're going to start demanding flaggings of his videos. They're going to start writing more hit pieces. They're going to demand, because this is what they do. Don't let them. Make sure you check out private internet access before you end up the day. Make sure you get yourself that crazy good discount on that VPN. And we'll talk to you again real soon.